quickly, this is what we made, and Make It With Mary Monday at 11 a.m. Facebook Live. This did post to my stampinpiece.com blog today, so you can get all the information there. Basically, we used one card sketch to make 3 different cards, but the products used are the same throughout each of those cards. Now today, I completely went off my plan and am doing something new because this month demonstrators who are attending the On Stage at Home Stampin' Up! Event next month had the opportunity to purchase this bundle of products. And this is something that's going to be in our January-June mini catalog. So a sneak peek of a product to come, and one that we know will be around at least through June. So, but it comes with this Dragonfly Garden stamp set, and if you've been around with me, sentiments, and these really touched me. Plus, I just love flowers in general, all kinds of flowers, cut flowers, wildflowers, annuals, perennials, whatever. And then it has this darling dragonfly punch that punches out the large dragonflies that you stamp. And it also cuts out some from the beautiful designer series paper. So let me show you this. And this designer series paper comes in a 6x6 pack, and it's called Dandy Garden. And you've got to see this. It's gorgeous colors. There's Blackberry Bliss, Bumblebee, Calypso Coral, Misty Moonlight, and what's the other one? Mossy Meadow. And then the neutrals in here are black and white. I thought this would be so fun to color. I mean, look at this. Just do a quick coloring here. And it changes the whole look of that designer series paper. It's the same as this if you would color it. So you can see all these gorgeous colors and fun nature botanical prints. So I am really excited. So you guys get to see the very first project I made. Oh, I forgot one element, the ladybug trinkets. Okay, these are like the most darling things. I'm trying, how can I show this to you? Let me hold it up there. Can you see those? Get a good look at those. I'm trying to hold it up. Nice and steady. Ladybug trinkets. I just love them. They're darling. And they remind me of my mom and my daughter Emily, because we had done Emily's room when she was little in flowers and different things, and she had a little ladybug collection. And that started because my mom was watching her one day at my mom's house, and mom was working in her yard with the flowers and stuff, and she saw a ladybug, and she said to Emily, "Oh, Emily, come look at this ladybug." And Emily said, "Lakey bug." And Grandma said, "Emily, it's called a ladybug." And Emily said, "No, Grandma, it's a lakey bug." So that's a fun memory. So it's pausing here. There we go. Today I am going to show you a variation on a Slimline card. So this is my card, and this is what it looks like opened up. Okay. So you can see I had a Slimline card base, and then I cut out a portion of that cardstock. So let me show you now how to make this. I like to make mine so that the finished size is 3.5 inches by 7 inches. So, I'm sorry, yes. No, I said that wrong. 3.5 inches by 8.5 inches, okay? Finished card will be 3.5 inches across, 8.5 inches long or tall. So you are going to need a piece of cardstock that measures 8.5 by 7 inches, our card, but I need it only 7 inches long, not the 11. So I'm actually cutting off 4 inches. So 11 minus the 4 inches I'm cutting off will give me 7 inches across. Then I want to take this 7-inch by 8.5 inch piece of cardstock, and I'm going to score it so it's in a vertical position. I'm going to score it at 3.5 inches. So when I fold this in half, that's how I get my 3.5 by 8.5 inch piece of cardstock. Okay, or card, finished 1/2 inches for a finished card. Now, to make this cutout here, what I'm going to do is turn my card to a horizontal position. I'm going to open it up and turn it to the horizontal position. And I'm going to cut at 3 inches down to the score line. Now, when I do this, to make sure I'm going just right to the score line and not past it, I'm looking at these lines on either side of the plastic part of my cutting board. I want that line to line up with the score line I've already put there. So if you can see, and I'm actually standing up right now to cut this so that I'm seeing over the top of it, not at an angle. Okay, and you can see my cut went right to the score line. Now I'm going to turn this, set this at 3.5 inches, and I'm going to put a line on the plastic part of the blade, lines up with that 3-inch line that I've already cut. And then I'll pull out that piece of paper from my cut card, okay? This piece I'm just going to discard, put it in someplace where I can use it on another project later. The other pieces I have already cut, the inside, which is 3.25 by 8.25 inches. 3.25 by 8.25 inches. Okay. The white piece for my front is 3.25 by 5.25 inches. 3.25 by 5.25 inches. Okay. This is the piece that I'm going to stamp on first. I'm going to do some quick stamping and coloring. I'm going to ink up this stamp with black Memento ink, because I want to color with my Stampin' blends. So I'm just going to set that down, and I'll set this over here to dry a moment. I also have a piece of designer series paper. You can see I'm changing it up from my first card with this. And then I also have 3.25 inch by 1/4 inch strip. And I'm using that on the inside of the card just to give a nicer look to the break between the DSP and the white, okay? I'm going to click share, and if you would click share, I would appreciate it as well. This will get more people on watching with us, and it will also bring other people in to watch with us and give you a chance to use shared along with me. Okay, before I color, I'm going to adhere some of this. Before I put this piece of designer series paper on, I want to stamp the inside sentiment for my card. Now on this card, I have, for a true friend, may good things grow all year long. For my second card, I'm going to change it up a little bit, and I'm going to use, there should be, oh, here it is. I already had it ready. I'm going to use You Are an Inspiration. I love that. First of all, does anybody remember from the 80s, probably mid 80s, that song, You're the Inspiration? Yeah, that was our song for a while. Back in my college days. But just, I love this because there are so many people in my life that inspire me. There are people that inspire me in my Stampin' Up! Life. There are people that inspire me in my family life, my spiritual life, just every part of my life I can find people who do inspire me. Now I'm going to stamp this on my grid paper. Can stamp it straight, and that looked pretty good. So I'm going to give it my best shot here. Oh, pretty good. Okay, so I want that to dry for a moment, so I'm going to now add my designer series paper to the top of this. This is a fun print. Looks like just little like dandelion tops, the fuzzy white part of the dandelion. Does that have a name? I don't know. Now this is where I'm going to add that little strip of coordinating cardstock just to give it a nicer finished look instead of kind of an abrupt edge there. Just makes it look a little more by adding this tiny bit of cardstock. And again, this little piece is 3 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch. And you can see that I adhered it with just a very narrow line of multi-purpose glue. Okay, I think that is dry now. So I will go ahead and add this to the inside of my card. Just a smidgen wider than my white. So this is what I do when that happens. I just take my paper snips and cut that little bit of excess off. Okay, now I'm ready to put it on the inside of my card. Wow, so many of you have joined me. Thank you. I'm happy to see all of you. Welcome, Sharon and Joan, and anybody else I missed. Okay, so there's the inside of my card. Now I'm going to go ahead and color this. Now, when you look at this, I don't want you to run away and say, Mary, I hate coloring. There is no way I would color that, because you're going to see just, oops, I'm using my blends, and this is Dark Mango Melody. Now the yellow, oops, that's not what I wanted to color, but that's all right. The yellow that is in, lost my train of thought here. The yellow that is in the designer series paper, which is where I got my color combination from for the coloring, is Bumblebee. We do not have Stampin' Blends in the Bumblebee color. So I am using the Dark Mango Melody. And see, I'm just going to change up my colors from my original card a little bit. Just switching them out, basically. Different places, I'll say. Okay. Then I'm going to be using the light Calypso Floral. And this stamped image really is just sort of like a sketch. So the lines in the drawings, the images are not perfect. So therefore, we don't have to worry. Okay, and you can see how quickly I did that. Next, I'm going to use light Misty Moonlight. Again, just dabbing color in there, not necessarily coloring in those little lines. You can see how quickly this coloring is. Again, that's because it doesn't have to be perfect. Just, it's sort of like I'm splashing on a little bit of color. One of you that is commenting tonight will win this card that I'm making. So be sure and comment. The more you comment, the more times you get entered into the drawing. And now I'm going to color these big, I think these are cone flowers. This is dark Blackberry Bliss, light Blackberry Bliss. Fill in those petals quickly. And if you share this right now during the live, I'll also enter you into my drawing for a Stampin' Up! Product. I have 2 giveaways tonight. One for commenting and one for sharing during the live. Okay. And I feel like coneflowers, the other one I just colored in with the dark. I feel like coneflowers sort of have a, they have kind of a brown, dark brown center? I can't really remember off the top of my head. I don't have any in my yard here in Columbus. Okay, next I'm Glossy Meadow. And I'm going to just add some splashes of the dark Mossy Meadow to the larger leaves. I say larger, but they're still pretty small, aren't they? I think I got them all. And then I'm going to fill in a shade of Mossy Meadow. Okay, is this coloring of this bunch of flowers going more quickly than you thought it would? I hope you're going to say yes, because I think it definitely went much faster than what I thought it would, and it was much easier than I thought it might be also, just because of the sketch-like effect of the stamped image. I like to color, but sometimes it's just nice when we don't have to worry about coloring in the lines perfectly, right? I'm going over the stems. It's just a quick motion. I'm hardly even pressing down with my marker. So tell me, what do you think of this stamp set, the Dragonfly Garden? Let me put it here for a moment so you can see it, see the whole thing. What are your thoughts on that, the Dragonfly Garden stamp set? Did any of you have a lot of dragonflies in your yard? I've never seen so many dragonflies as I have this year. And I was thinking, well, is it what I planted in my garden? But really, most of what I planted this year, I had in there last year. So I just don't know. I mean, practically every single morning or afternoon when I was sitting on my front porch or on my patio in the evening, I had dragonflies flying around me. I actually got some really good pictures of them. Okay, so what do you think? Sharon says she loves the style, she loves the stamp set, and thank you for sharing. I saw lots of smiles and hearts and thumbs up. Okay, finished piece. Now, I did add just a little bit of green at the bottom, just kind of to, what I want to say, ground that. There are a couple ways you can do that. You can do it like I did here. The other way you can do that is to use an ink pad, and you know what, I'm going to use a sponge this time. So I'm going to ink this up, and then I'm just very light. Okay, so you can see two ways of doing that, just two ways of grounding that. Just adding some brush strokes with very lightly with your Stampin' Blends marker, or by sponging on some color. Now you might say, well, you've grounded it, but it's, you know, floating in white. If you want to add a little more color, perhaps a blue in the background. I like the Seaside Spray blue for the to coordinate moonlight. Let me grab another sponge. Yeah. And again, ink up your sponge and then just very, very lightly, very gently tap it around your stamped image. Remember to go very lightly. I don't even know how well you can see that. It's so light on that blue. Can you get a better look there? And I say lightly because you can always add more color. You can always deepen that tone of color you're adding. But you cannot take ink away, right? The bottom, just to sort of finish it off there. And if you're doing two colors, I do kind of like to overlap the colors a little bit so that you don't have a line of color. You kind of want to blend them in. All right, so what do you think? Okay, we still need a sentiment on the front, and I want it to say, "For a true friend," just like my first one did. And I went ahead and already punched this out from the, I believe this is called the Label Me Lovely punch or Label Me Fancy. I always get the two mixed up. Let me first see how straight I can stamp this. Okay, pretty good. And I'll line this up with my grid paper. Lining the edges with the grid paper helped me to stamp it straight. Not bad. I'm going to try again though. See if it's a little better the second time. Okay, I think so. I think that's a little straighter. Now, as you can see, I've stamped closer to the left side. I'm left of center. And the reason is I'm going to adhere this and then trim off the edge. Trim off that edge of blue, okay? Oh, Sharon, you like to use the sponges? Hi, Peggy. Thanks for joining me. We're getting to the end of the Facebook. Like the cards that you see and go back and watch from the beginning. Okay, when you have it there and it's had a moment to dry, you're simply going to take your paper snips and cut off that excess edge. You could also put it on your trimmer and do that, but for something small, I just use my paper snips. Okay. I think this one's a bit fancier than my first card, my sample card. Remember, all you have to do to be entered into the drawing to win this card is to comment. You can comment once, twice, or as many times as you like, but each time that you comment, your name is entered into the drawing. All right, so there's that. Now, I did tell you that some of these designer series papers you can punch the dragonflies from. So I thought I would do that now. Sometimes the papers are so pretty you don't want to, but sometimes those stamped images are so, or the punched images are so pretty. Okay, that one's not quite the right size. Oh, here's one, and then this, I think we'll cut out the little ones as well. Let me check that. Yes. So there's one little dragonfly. I'm going to add that with a glue dot. Pam, I'm glad you love the card. I think I'll put it, I'm going to put it right here. And I'm going to punch out a larger one. It's not really in the what do I want to say size-wise. The size isn't quite relative, but it works nonetheless. Or that one you can actually use the back side. And I think that will be cute on a couple of, popped up on a couple of dimensionals. There you go. What do you think? There's the finished card. Let me pull in my sample again so you can see that. Here's my first sample. And here's the card I just made with you. I feel like I need something up here. Do you agree? Let's go ahead and cut out punch out one of the other dragonflies. Top of that card is a little bit bare. Oh yes, I think that will look awesome. Hello, Amy and Brenda. Thanks for being here. Okay, so there you sample to the demonstrated card. The sample, sample card looks a little bit bolder because I left more of that stark white. And this one I think looks a little softer on the bottom because we added that sponging of the ground and sky behind it. All right, I hope you have your name or your comments made so you can get entered into the drawing to win this card. And if you are somebody that shared, I will put your name into another drawing in which I will choose a winner for a Stampin' Up! About these cards. Okay, it's a variation a variation on the Slimline cards. These cards do fit in a standard, what I call a business envelope or letter envelope that you can get, you know, at any big box store or office supply store, anything like that. The Slimline cards do fit nicely in there with plenty of room. So they will mail easily. I hope you enjoyed seeing a sneak peek Designer Series paper, as well as the Dragonfly Garden Bundle, which includes the stamp set and the coordinating punch. And it also has the cute, cute, cute ladybug trinkets. They're a lot of fun. Jill, I am glad you love the cards. She says, so stinking cute. And thank you very much for sharing. I appreciate you helping me reach more people. And good luck. I will announce the winners very shortly for both the card and the Stampin' Up! Gift. I will be back on my Stampin' Piece VIP group on Friday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Oh, Joan, I do hope you try the Slimline cards. They're a lot of fun. You know, I saw people doing them over the last few months, and I thought, I got to jump on the bandwagon. I got to give that a try too. And I have really loved making them. I made some couple months ago. I'll have to pull those back out. Used Freeze and Fun. So that was a fun stamp set to use, and made a snow scene. In fact, those Slimline cards were in a horizontal position. I'll have to pull those out again. I think they were. Maybe they were both vertical and horizontal. I'll have to grab those and take a look again. All right. Thanks for spending part of your Wednesday hump day with me. Have a great evening, and I hope to see you on Stampin' Piece VIP group on Friday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Have a good night. Bye-bye.